we have to give them time to leave the premises because they're already in. What do you mean? It's private property and they're in.
So it's just a big process.
Yes.
And of course we have a lot of abandoned buildings, right? So like
yes.
How much time would it be to if you wanted to get rid of all of them or beautify the whole place? How much time would that take?
That's it. I mean, sometimes a year, sometimes
it's take longer if we never get started, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
so that's
true.
the thing. I mean, it's always been the pressure of you cannot, and I don't want to use that word, so let me find another one. But why do something that maybe the mayor is not proposing, or why we're going to do something that it's your idea and not somebody else's? So it's always tough. So why am I mentioning these things right now? Because I think that I can have the support of the other members that I always have the support and vice versa, that we have a close connection into discussing things and to being in the same page. And when we're not, we are professionals and adults to discuss exactly why, the cons and pros, and we get into, we get a plan and we try to make things happen. So now if I would have been, I had the privilege of being there, what's the difference? Now, maybe the idea, it's been there like a top priority. Well, what are we going to do about it? You put a little bit more pressure on, we need to find a solution. It's not just in the air. Okay, or take care of it. Well, it's not that easy. We need to collaborate sometimes to, have people moving.
I mean, and has that been tough for you guys?
Yeah.
Well, what we're trying to implement, Ruben, more than anything at this point is, like she said, getting the properties and getting them started. The point is, in everything we do, we should have a process and a procedure, and that's what I tell the city manager a lot. It's like, when you start something, you see a problem now, you set a process, a procedure. That way, when the same problem, and I've talked to the city attorney about this and other staff members. Okay, what's the problem? There's a problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at it, analyze it, look at the best decisions or the best options you've got. Create a process and procedure. That way, when this comes again, because everything goes around in circles, it comes back. It's like, oh yeah, with this, we just move it here, push it there, and boom. Right? Instead of reinventing the wheel every single time. And because we reinvent the wheel every single time, what happens? Nobody ever finishes the wheel. Right? And then we do have turnover because sometimes they move out of town or they find a job, a higher pay. And that's great for the staff member. And when it comes to growth, I've always, pushed, you got to go, you got to take advantage of those opportunities. But at the same time, you lose, a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience. So when that happens, the person that's coming behind doesn't know how that wheel was being worked on. And because they don't know how it was worked on and it was never finished, the process isn't a continuous process.
Okay.
So under what we have or currently we're working, because she's no longer a council member anymore, what we were looking at is creating process and procedures for what we were looking at. That way we got stuff done and it became repetitive. Right? Repetitive in a way where hopefully when we left, it'd be like, oh yeah, we're structured. Right? So that's the whole plan. What she's trying to say is that, we set it, we develop it, we have a pattern of it, and everything will fall into place, as in new property. You have a house next to you, whatever, you see it's damaged, you report it. Oh yeah, this one falls under this category. Person deceased, 3 years vacant. You know what? We can follow this process because we already got the law behind us on it, as opposed to, well, let's figure it out and take us 5 years to figure out after you see, and you've been cutting the grass yourself because there's been stuff growing out of it. Right.
Yeah.
So
snakes, animals,
and that's where we try to implement these things. So we boom, 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 and not.
So like for like all the past, I'm sure these buildings are super old and a lot of them have been here for like 30 or more years. What's your guys' take on why, it's still, we just have a bunch of, they're still there, like since before you guys were even on board.
We go back to the same thing.
We go back to the same thing.
They just feel comfortable. They're like, okay, it's too long. Well, we haven't started. Or we haven't started any process, or we haven't, sent
we're not
any
accustomed to doing it, so therefore we're not bothering and taking
Another
it,
year.
And then
and
you have
taking it done.
people like us that we're there and we're asking the question, well, why not? Well, what can we do to solve it or to change it or to, and I'm going to give an example. I mean, probably somebody like Placido, which is the planning director, he probably experienced that with me. I keep asking a lot of questions about how come we haven't updated so many codes, or how come we're still behind. So I think that it's time. Everybody has that in their heads or their minds, but you get rolled into or emerged into your daily, a lot of work that that department has, as well as all the other departments, right? We understand, but you have to start putting some things as priorities so that everything runs in the end. Yes, it's a lot of work right now, but in the end, everything runs smoothly. I mean, more, smoothly. So that's the idea behind pushing. It's not because we want to make them work harder, but it's just more efficiently.
Right. We've seen past, city council meetings on Facebook and stuff. And I was actually, we're going to talk about a specific date here in just a little bit after we get back to the next topic. But I mean, we've seen there's, I don't think anybody wants to see when you have a city council meeting going on and everyone is just agreeing to everything. I think you want to see some kind of disagreement, right?
There must be
So,
a disagreement.
and I know it kind of looks like, and I'm just going by what I see, okay, is, you guys always ask questions like, what's up with this? I mean, for this next date that we'll talk about, even Mayor Salinas was asking questions about this. Like, you guys gotta, you guys have actually been showing that you're looking into it. And like, okay, well, is this for the best interest of the community? And yeah, that's what we want to see. And I don't think you guys are being appreciated for that. You know what I mean?
And let me tell you, people complain that we're not transparent. Sometimes sometimes we take things to executive session, and then you cannot maybe mention exactly what was that you voted on or what you discussed, when we should, right? I mean, well, there's certain things we're going back to legally. There's some things that you cannot disclose just yet. In the future, in the proper time, you do. But in the event of, that's the beauty of the council meeting. You ask the questions, and sometimes even if we know, like, for example, they start talking about codes and this and that, and then I ask the question publicly so that people get the opportunity to get a response of how or why, so that they can get involved and understand what we're voting on. Because sometimes it's really hard to, okay, this is the item. Okay, yes, that's it. Or the question, well, what is he talking about? Or what is she talking about? We ask sometimes, well, when it's something even simple, I like to ask a question just so the public to be informed. This is the opportunity when we can just discuss everything publicly. And sometimes some of the members, or sometimes the mayor, doesn't like to be discussing things publicly because, we look bad. Well, no. And that was my experience when I got there. And that, Monica, are you sure that you, no, I mean, I'm against it and I'm against it. Well, we should look united. I don't care looking united. We are united when we need to be united, but we have different approaches, and we have a different, kind of,
we don't have to portray the perfect marriage.
Exactly. It's the beauty of it. We're all different. We're all different. It's not
different
personal.
Education,
Experience.
path for each one. One was realtor, one was lawyer, one was medical, the other one's educator. I myself, I don't know if you want to educator / business.
Food service.
That's what I'm saying. We'll put that under the
I,
business category.
Someone said you guys were the dream team. Like I said.
Well, at the beginning, that's what people used to say. And you know what? I consider it as well, because it was
a big knowledge, a lot of knowledge in one bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we all learn from one another. And that's the beauty of it. That's why, we complete each other, because that's the reality. I mean, you cannot be right in everything, or you cannot just be against everything, but it's that discussion and we all learn from one another. And I see it like that. And we could have probably one day a big discussion and then yelling and whatever in executive session, and then the next session we're like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah,
that's what it is. That's what this is all about. I mean, unfortunately, going back to this campaign, it's been incredible, because it has become something completely different. Like if we don't even know each other, or like we never worked together, or that we never agreed on something. I mean, we even supported one another in so many things and decisions, because that's how we all started. We agreed to disagree. We learned to work with one another, and
That's what democracy is all about.
that's what it
it's
is about. And
Yeah.
and we understand, and it's not an easy job, but we enjoyed it when good things happen, and even when we stop things from not happening. If it's something that, but we're humans, we learn every day, and every item, sometimes it's new to us. It's we have to study also, and kind of get a little bit knowledge from here and there, but that's why we ask questions.
So let's say, if you do win the election, you have Jessica Ray in there who ran with Aruan. You have Elias, who's been going against you guys, and of course I guess Billy is kind of which way. How do you?
He's the most experienced one.
Yeah. How do you? So what? If you do take the seat, what's your plan for kind of just keeping everybody united? I guess this could go for both of you guys, since you guys.
And I think that
as mayor, though, it'd be important to try to.
You all know me, and I think that I'm not a hard person to deal with. The position has changed me, but not in a bad way. I mean, you just need to learn to be a little bit more cold when it comes to decision making, because it's either yes or no. You cannot have something in between.
Right.
You have to take the guts it takes guts to say, you know what, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's not going to happen. And I know people are going to be mad, but there's always a reason behind it. Okay,
Right.
so
you can't be like, you know what? I don't want Mario mad at me, so I'm not going to say anything.
Exactly. And that's that's the thing. At least I think that I always been very professional. I've been very open about everything, how I think about every single detail, and it works for me, and I think that for the team. I mean, regardless of the situation, we have a decent relationship. I'm not a hard person to deal with or to speak. I'm very open. I'm very transparent to people. And I'm always looking for what's best, with the best intention at heart. And I think that when you show that or be honest about it, well, you have to at least feel that honesty, and you can work together with everyone. I mean, the same way I always respect everyone's opinion. And I listen, and then we all put a little bit of something in our minds, and then until we get to the last decision. So it works. I think that I will not have a problem, and and you can tell that I'm not a vindictive person, because if not, I would have already talked about every single person, and with proof and things like that.
Vindictive.
It's not about that. And I remember that I told you about a specific meeting when I exploded, and never in my life ever I was that desperate of how can you not see it, and this and that, and again, I remember Homero's first meeting. It was that one, just so that he could get a feeling of where we were at, and he was like this, just quiet, like, oh my God. And then I called him and I told him, I'm so sorry that you got to see that person. And he's like, no, you're very passionate, Ms. Cruz. And that it
Doing
is.
your
And then
job.
the next meeting, we were perfectly fine. And we were not hypocrites. We like getting there, and you feel the responsibility of that chair and the trust that people, put in you, and you have to have that in your mind, and you have to keep your feet grounded, and that's very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what this is all about. So yes, I can work with everyone and anyone. I mean, that it's in front of me. That's what this is all about.
Councilman Garcia, did you have any? I mean, throughout the last 2 years, has it been a struggle for you? Personally, or were you just kind of going with the flow?
Or? Man. No.
Yeah, I don't think so, man.
Well, it depends. Go with the flow. No, I believe I've had to say no to several items, crucial items there. I think I've supported some that have been crucial. Some that, like I said, I've said no to. It just depends on what the item is. You know, if it's something that is going to impact everything that we stand for, of course we're going to set our foot down. If it's not transparent, of course I'm going to set my foot down. And like Ms. Cruz said, what you see in the front of the meeting is not always what you would see in the back. In the back, it's like an open ring. You know, we talk about everything we've got and every expertise that we've got. Like I said, we have the lawyer in there and he'll tell us what he thinks. And then we have the realtor and she'll give us her side. And then we have the medical expert in there, you know, and he'll give us his version of it. And then we obviously we'll fight it out and see which one has more of a reason behind it. And it's fun, to be honest with you, to listen to everybody's point of view. So to answer your question about how would we get along, knowing that right now 2 council members and one are in opposite sides. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, that court is it's our court, right. You know, and we all play for the same team once we're in that court. So it's not really about what you stand for out here. You know, out here, you know, I'm supporting her. The other 2 candidates are supporting, and that's fine. You know, right now we saw each other out at the voting, and we all waved at each other. You know, we're all good because we know that us at the end of the day, we have to go back in there and we have to look at what's best for the community. We have to look at what's best for growth and development. You know, we can't sit and say, well, you know, I'm gonna cancel this for you just because you were in my bad boot that day and you made me get pissed. No.
That makes us like others. Like
and the point is we have to work together, like I said, for the betterment of everything. And at the end of the day, that's how it falls. And that's what we ran for this, you know. I don't know if that answers that one question you had, but that's how I feel about it. I mean, like I said, there's good stuff, there's bad stuff. You have to tackle it all. There's media that attacks you, you know, Ruben, you know.
Yes.
I think we know. Yeah.
No, I was talking about you towards me, but
you know what?
It's all good. You know, at the end of the day, you have to analyze it, and after 2 years, we've learned to ignore Facebook.
Right.
If it sounds that way, I mean, we just have to learn to say, okay, you know, cool. All right, I got you. And then we'll look at it, you know, and read it. It's like, seriously, dude, you know, it's like, all right, okay, cool. That sounds great. You know, maybe I'll look into it. And many times they're like, oh man, really? That's how you read that? So it just depends. And you just don't take it to heart anymore.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Like even Councilman Elias Diaz once said, he's like, what else can they say about me that, you know, I should care about? Because they pretty much said a lot about him.
Right.
So he's like, you know, and it goes with the same page. And I quote him in that because it goes to the same thing. Just learn to turn it off and not take it to heart. Because if we do, it'll consume you.
Right.
Well,
so
you're
right. And I don't just for the record, okay, we had more than just me running against you, and at least I wasn't trying to get you in trouble with work. Okay. I wanted to put on a good little show, but I wasn't going to attack your family or say, hey, look, he's parked somewhere on school monies, like
right.
on district monies. What's going on? No,
that was
and it was only the great thing about it. It was just only between both of you, not about entire
and
team.
Then, when we were actually at the tent, we'd actually be talking to each other.
Yeah. We were just hanging out
with your tent over there, man. Yeah, come on over.
And, you know, again, but we'll kind of cycle into this next topic because, you know, it's fun when you want to kind of get the community to see, okay, why is Councilman Garcia better than Camarillo? Why is Monica Cruz better than Aron? Like, you know, that's simple politics. Yeah. There's doing that, and then there's just trashing somebody's reputation. There's attacking their loved ones. They're making super. I'm sorry. What we got?
There was a question from when you guys were talking about buildings and abandoned buildings.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to the question. Sorry, guys. We'll see that. But yeah, no, yeah. There's a difference, between asking the community why is this person better than me? Why is this person be councilman or mayor than me? Instead of trashing someone's reputation, making just these weird cartoons. And you know what I think? And this is going to go into campaign bullying. And I think it was very we'll talk about the next two videos that we saw. I thought it was just preposterous that, you know, they're going to sit and say, oh my God, like we're getting bullied. We're getting slandered. We have the community, all of you guys know that we know that you've been the one that's been getting attacked.
Yeah.
You can just go on Facebook and take analyze. But and the thing is that as soon as you try to say something or defend yourself, they go back and attack you. It's like, oh my God, look what Monica said. You know,
Like she's a bad person.
she defended herself against us. God damn it! You know, like
First
do
defend
something.
yourself and then don't do anything.
Yeah, post a picture of her when she was drenched out there, right in front of her. I'm just like this. You know, that'll show her. You know, that's you saw that picture, right? I mean, the point is, I feel like the other campaign is projecting, and this doesn't have anything to do with you guys. This is just me. That's my opinion. Projecting how they're getting bullied and they're getting, you know, slandered. What's your thoughts on that? I don't know, guys.
Suppositions, and yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, I'm waiting for a job at the Parks and Recreations department.
Are you now?
Yeah, the director, right? You guys.
Oh,
you
sorry,
guys
I
remember?
beat you to that one. We already hired someone. Ricky in there already. Sorry, Ricky's already in there.
It's like
Oh, now the last one that I heard. I mean, he doesn't even speak to me. That somebody was supporting me. One of the commissioners that, you know, doesn't even speak to me, and he just laughs every time he passes by because he's in the other team. And oh yeah, Monica, he's been supported. So they're trying, like, everybody has supported me, everybody has abandoned me, everybody has. So it's kind of like looking for something to just like click, like, you know, for different groups. Okay, they're gonna fire you, and then they're gonna change you, and they're gonna, oh, you know that she's getting money from I don't know where. I mean, I have put every single penny on my reports.
right.
You know, I mean, it's more I cannot be more transparent than that.
Yeah.
But
And-
you know, it is what it is.
Yeah,
but
it's normal to throw things out like, oh my God, look. I mean, I thought that was kind of weird how, you know, Mr. Valdez had a straight zeros on his reports. I mean, wouldn't anybody else? Wouldn't you wonder why? I mean, all of a sudden we saw the signs go up as soon as yours did.
yeah,
I
if
mean,
you start counting, I mean, it's just right there in signs only. I mean, if everybody says, I mean, oh my God, you're just being behind, like he already put triple the. Well, if you do my
And the
you
sign.
know, the math with my sign expense, how come it's not even, you know, the
right.
same?
And there was no, I think it was the owed contributions page. I think that, I mean, if you haven't paid for anything yet, like a sign, you put all that stuff on there.
You have to.
You know, you have to, and he didn't have that page.
There's even a check there for ice cream.
You
know, nobody
Well, wait a
say
minute,
anything. I still owe
you guys still owe him $400 to
for 2 days of the service, and that's it.
Talk smack about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, just for an example, you know, but everything is there. I mean, even if people want to see it, I mean, it's just like, you know, it's there. It can answer a lot of questions. It's just that you don't spend the time or your energy in answering everybody, you know, and things that are not even worth it. That you know, sometimes you want to, yes, because it's not fair that I'm the one running and that they take everyone. I mean, there's kids involved.
Right,
There's,
yeah.
you know, a lot of people involved that have nothing to do with it, even because maybe, you know, part of that team wants something in return for a specific entity and then for another entity. So let's all attack everyone at the same time so that we can maybe do, you know, all in one.
Yeah.
You know, get our purpose or our goal. It doesn't make sense. This is just the mayoral campaign. That's it. Period.
Yeah.
But you know, it has gone, you know, to
Too
that
far.
point.
Yeah. And I think that's what's kind of turning people off a little bit. You know, we've seen some Facebook
Even the
posts
picture
and-
that it was, how do you call it? That it was
Manipulated.
manipulated. There was a picture manipulated, and I'm like, oh my God.
yeah.
I mean, to that extent,
AI is dangerous.
you know, that you don't play with that,
No.
honestly.
No.
That's too
So,
much.
and on
Yeah.
a graduation day, mostly with, you know, it's just like seriously.
Mhm.
But anything. I mean, anyway, I mean, you know who it is, and you know,
Yeah.
do a good, you know, a
But
big drama.
you would make little comebacks, and they would get really mad and come back with something even worse.
Mhm.
You know, you
It was
you would-
very a soft comeback.
yeah, you would say something like,
Oh,
okay,
wow.
hey, well, guess what? Look, I'm with my family. I'm sure this is going to be on, you know, whatever news media later, apparently all these people are going to offer, or they want a job. You know, that it's okay to be a little snarky sometimes. It's well deserved. But then as soon as you come up with something little like that,
Oh, and then with that one, oh yes, so yes, she's accepting. Listen, I was 6 years old, dude. 6 years old. That's why I put 1985. You know, I was 6 years old.
Yeah. See, and
that explains to you. You see what you want to see.
Right.
Regardless.
Yes.
So you're not gonna change anyone, and that's my, that's my way of thinking, and maybe some of you respect that and some others don't. Why am I gonna fight so hard and spend so much time in changing your mind if you already know who you want to vote for?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
When you're there, you already know. So why am I gonna do all this?
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. And again, we're running for the mayor position. You have to set the example. You have to act like such.
Mm-hmm.
You have to just keep your posture and composure and do what's right. There's a limit to everything. There's a fine line to a certain point, but you have to have also a way of getting the message, I think.
Dari Sanchez says, Monica making moves as a toddler.
Really? Yeah. I was good.
You were 6 years old.
So I'm an expert.
I'm gonna watch out.
Exactly.
So, and that's going to lead us into this next topic, and so we've already covered some of your pitches that we had for going through for this runoff. We talked about how difficult it is that it can be in the life of council people, not just the mayor. But now we want to talk about a little, again, we're kind of rolling into the whole campaign bullying thing, and I think that's a major. It can affect someone's campaign really badly. I mean, this isn't federal elections where you're voted against the presidents are both going
where
at it.
There's memes and stuff.
Yeah, all the memes from the presidents and everything, and it's funny. But this is local elections. Like we see each other all the time, and when you do things like, and we'll mention you guys' fellow council member, Elias Diaz, who I guess he had a few choice words to say about you guys on a live. I think it was yesterday. Well, he made two. And I'm not going to quote verbatim on what he said, but I watched it because I had respect for him and I want to listen to what he has to say, obviously. And, he mentioned he strongly mentioned how he does not want to work with you anymore.
Wow.
I think that's like, and the second video, I watched it again and he says, I'm angry. Okay, this has to be good. Let's see who pissed him off. And,
oh my God, I've been with this for months. I'm not that angry.
Yeah. And we'll get to that in just a second. So he makes it clear that again, he doesn't want to work with Mario. He doesn't want to work with you. He says, like, okay, hey, anybody who's going to stand in the way of public health, you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to fight for it. And that's what we're gonna mention. So what I did was I went and I think I told you about it, Beto. I went and watched. No, actually, I talked to you, Councilman. I said, hey, when was the date of the whole the public health debacle? And so I went in there, checked it out, July 18th, 2023. And I believe it was item number 15. And, it was about the public health department. All right. And I think the reason why I bring this up is because on his video, he brought that up, that because of you guys, we don't have a health department, pretty much. And so I went back and looked and I saw the video and how you guys brought up.
You mean the meeting, right?
Yeah, the meeting. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I gotta be careful. Sorry. On the City of Eagle Pass Facebook page. That's where we saw the video. And it shows that finally you guys get to item 15 and everybody has pitched the idea to you guys. You had some doctors. I think one of them, Dr. Thomas, he's a really great sports doctor. He took care of my knee. They all said everything. And then I guess to the point, I guess Elias's idea was wanting the city to pay $100,000.
Which we did.
Which you did. Okay, put $100,000 to the Maverick County Hospital.
Which those $100,000, just to make it clear, is the reason why Elias couldn't vote on this item. Anytime your employer or anybody that gives you the majority of your income, you cannot vote towards them getting something from the city.
Conflict of interest.
Conflict
right?
of interest.
Okay.
See, if the district was getting any monetary compensation or anything from the city towards the district, I cannot vote and I'll have to abstain.
Right.
Billy cannot vote and he has to abstain.
There's
Now
no
Jessica Ramon cannot vote and she has to abstain, because if the district receives anything from the city, and I mean anything that has to do with money, then we have to abstain,
You're part of it.
because
Okay.
then it would be us voting in favor of our employer.
Oh, okay.
But like, we do have our interlocal agreements, right? Our interlocal agreements means that, for example, us district sometimes has some equipment or buildings or whatever the case might be that we already own and the city wants to borrow, and vice versa with the county. See, all three entities and have that interlocal agreement that we can borrow buildings, we can borrow the, the sports complex, maybe the SAC or whatever else might be, in order to get something done, and we don't charge each other, or we have that interlocal agreement. In this case, the interlocal agreement that we wanted to do, or Elias wanted to do, included money in it.
Okay.
And that's why it was a conflict of
Right.
interest.
Because, of course, he works for the hospital
And
district.
they were going to get
$100,000
$100,000
plus an in-kind
Right.
donation of does that count too? Towards, because county was
the
donating
building,
the
but see
building.
that the county wasn't getting any monies out of the city.
Right.
They were just
Donation.
putting a building, because at the time that's all they could afford to provide, which was a building with utilities.
And if not mistaken, there was a conflict also of interest, because in that case, he presented the project,
The
as per se,
item.
yeah, the item, when he shouldn't, because the then director, I believe, was there, right? Ms. Martinez was there, present in the
yes,
public,
yes.
along with other members.
Or there was multiple meetings. I don't know. I think she was out in vacation or something.
But I mean, and
Yeah.
the one that they were present, they should have presented it, not him,
Right.
right? And then also it caught us by surprise, because we didn't know what to expect, because we were never included on the explanation of
planning.
anything, or the
Yeah, it
planning.
was.
But
It
you
was.
saw the meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. You can watch
I
it.
lived it. You saw it.
Yeah.
And
So you
actually,
could
some
probably
people
recall it better.
actually said, "Oh my God! I mean, it was really bad that you spoke very out loud and you started fighting among
Right.
each other
Yeah.
instead of going to executive session." We go now back
Mhm.
to, okay, go and fight over there and never in the public. Well, why not? Because it's not that we meant it,
No.
but it just happened naturally.
Yes.
No, you can, and I'll say this for the record. You can see the video or the meeting on the Facebook page. You can see that Elias was getting he was losing his cool a
Anxious,
little bit.
yes.
He was losing his cool. You saw that smile, like, okay, all right. And you see it on a live video. And my biggest thing is, jumping on Facebook Live to tell everybody that I don't want to work with this person. What does that tell the community? You know what I mean? You guys voted for me. I'm the new council, but you know what? I don't want to. I'm supporting Adam because I don't want to work with them. I don't ever want to work with them. And so I asked a question. I said, "Well, is this a little personal?" And I asked, and I said, when he says that was the final straw, is when he says that she's vindictive. Right away, I said,
That's the only part that I heard from my team.
yeah, and I said vindictive. I said, Councilman, is this? And I have the proof; it's there. Councilman, this seems like a little personal. Is this if Monica has been this vindictive person for the past 2 years or so, or 4 years, why haven't you said anything? Why are you saying it now? And his response to me was, "I'm not going back and forth with you. If you're obviously biased, so don't disguise your bias as being genuinely curious." I'm just like, okay, Councilman, thank you. I got loud and clear. I feel like now that because nobody's writing about the flaw of the other campaign. I feel like me and the Latino are the only ones who are writing about it. And so I get all these mean mugs now. Like I'm getting.
Oh yeah, and you've been bought, but the others talking about it, they haven't been, paid.
Yeah, I got another media
It's free,
guy
right?
that makes the entire podcast in my name. Like, it's been crazy, but I'm telling the truth. I had no proof of all the scams that's going on. So I'm not going to put that out there if I don't have any. But then people started coming forth about this, and we'll talk about this too, about getting illegal funds from a foreign country. I mean, I don't think you're allowed to do that. Apparently, the law states that you can't, whether it's federal, whether it's municipal, county, state, whatever, you can't.
That's what
You
the
can't.
Federal, state, or local.
Yeah, federal, state, or local. You can't accept any contributions from a foreign entity or from a foreign business, and there's a lot of argument on that. What's you guys' take on that? I mean, as far as is this something that is illegal? Is this, or just chime in on that?
Yeah, you can't. You can't.
All right. I mean, plain and simple, right? And
It's
so
the thing is that we're so close that we feel like it's the same, but no, it's a different country.
right. And a lot of I can sense a lot of people don't want to write about it. I see it and I'm like, okay, I of course, obviously I'm going to write about it. I'm just getting you already know.
Yeah, I know.
You already know we're just getting heat for it, but I mean that's the cost of putting out the truth, and so be it, and
it seems like it doesn't. Not everything applies to them.
right.
Not everything applies to him personally. Will not. I mean, we all are the same, and everything applies to everyone.
Right. And we respect. I mean, we respect you guys for doing that. Like you've been very professional about it, and it's hard.
Right.
It's hard, especially when you got people capping on you and putting all these lies up on and cartoons, and then we hear Councilman Garcia has been silent, like hasn't been making live videos and talking trash about Elias or anybody else, just kind of in the background, right?
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we can talk. I don't really know what he said on that video. I didn't really watch it. I did comment something on there. But at the end of the day, we still got to work together. Right. We still have to face each other. So like I mentioned earlier, I mean, I didn't know that he said that he didn't want to work with me. That's okay.
But he still has to.
But we still have to work together, and it's for the betterment of the community. Like I mentioned earlier, we've always been able to talk stuff through, so unless things have changed during this campaign from last meeting to the one we're having this upcoming Tuesday,
And as a constituent, I'm worried because why? He just got reelected. How can you not be professional enough to remember you promised to, be there for the community? It's not that whether you like it or not, or that, it's making a decision for the community whether you like that person or not. That in the end, as Councilman Garcia says, it's what's best for, the community, not for ourselves.
Right.
Like I see, this election has gone way too far, out of control. Also,
I think we've been.
It's like if it's not, if it doesn't, do something for me, then I don't want it. Well, no, it's not like
showing
that.
their true colors.
Did you posted something you got trashed for, didn't you, or what was it? When you're like, this election's getting out of hand, or did somebody?
I just don't like the disrespect, like woman to woman.
Yeah.
I mean, mucho woman empowerment.
Is that what we were talking about that? Where is the
on
woman
our group
empowerment
chat?
groups? Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we'll go back and forth, and we'll that's why once we do have
So
a
much
podcast
hate.
with no guests, it's just going to be her and I, and just kind of putting everything out there. But I mean, that's another question: is where is the women empowerment group? I mean,
Se escondieron.
yeah. So in any sense, that falls in with so the other campaign mentions voting intimidation. I mean, you know what?
Oh my God.
Yeah, voting intimidation, and it's like they're just kind of. That's why I'm saying I think they're projecting this on you, because in my opinion, I don't feel like the other side has a valid argument as to why you cannot be mayor.
It's like they've been reflecting, their thoughts themselves.
Yeah. This again, I'm gonna put this board right here. I'm gonna separate myself from everybody else. This is my opinion. This is me. You're running a campaign. All right. You're running a campaign against someone who's been here for 4 years already. You're young and you're a business owner. But yet it feels like there's nothing he has to offer. I don't see Aaron Valdez. I want to see the guy on the billboard. I don't see him. I see Rolando Salinas. I see Pepe Aranda. I see all the other 5 or 6 mayors that endorsed. I just see that's another character we'll talk about, Jesus Casas. I see him now all of a sudden. It's like I don't see Aaron Valdez. They had a video today, and it feels like, okay, I'm gonna have him sit here and talk and just defend me while I just kind of watch him a little bit. And it's just Mr. Casas going on about how everybody should vote for Aaron. We've known each other. We know each other because we work together. Everybody trusts me. Whatever. Okay. First of all, if you're Jesus Casas and you're doing this big O endorsement that I think is overhyped because it's with somebody who's lost plenty of elections in the past. If you're so in sync with Mr. Valdez, why did you run against him? You know,
he was the last one.
He again, a video from I believe the news leader shared it. He explained how, oh my gosh, me and Valdez, we were in sync, we work together, we know each other. Okay, so why did you run against the guy? My point is that it makes endorsements less valuable. An endorsement is valuable, and they always say, well, you see it in the presidential elections all the time. Yes,
exactly, presidential,
but not
the
local.
Presidential, but when it's local, it's got to mean something. Like, you know, when you're let's just say in the presidential race. For the Democrats, okay, and the Democrats already went through a primary, and the other one lost. Okay, well, all right, I'm gonna endorse Veronica because she's a fellow Democrat, and you know we have to unite and do this together. This is municipal; it's totally different. Like you gotta be. It's got to be very sincere as to why I'm endorsing you, or why I'm endorsing Councilman Garcia or somebody. You know what I mean? And quite frankly, when you have so many endorsements, especially from 6 or 7 mayors, to me, that's just there's no value to it.
But let me tell you one thing that that I need to get it out of my chest.
Go for it. This is why we're here.
But in a good way.
No.
I'm trying to understand, and maybe you can
My
help
goodness,
me.
okay.
No, but maybe you can help me.
I just sparked the fire. Okay.
You are. What's the word? Se está quejando. I mean, you're complaining about how the city is being run and how the city is. And yet you keep saying, I've been sitting with the mayor because I want to follow and continue his work. Well, then why do you want to continue with everything that it has been happening if you're so much against it? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're against it, but you're going to follow and keep doing the same. So it feels like they're treating me like I was the mayor.
Yeah,
And I did a shitty job. You know? So that's the funniest part of all. I'm like, okay, and you've been supported also by Elias, another councilman, that also worked with the mayor very closely to make sure that the event happened. But then yet you're sending mailers stating, where's the money? Ask Monica. Well, no, ask them.
I think we
because
have
they
that.
were,
What?
in favor. So that's what I'm trying to understand, exactly. Okay, you're saying that you hate everything that we do, but yet you want to continue doing what we're doing.
Right.
So,
yeah.
that's the part that it has me like, okay, there's no consistency.
And it's going to contradict that. I mean, let's just say I'm Aaron Valdez and I'm getting.
Well, am I wrong or am I seeing it?
No,
Or am I?
you're wrong.
No,
You're not wrong.
No, you're not wrong.
It just doesn't make sense.
No, you're not wrong. Yeah, because let's just say Mayor Salinas is endorsing me. All right, we've already seen all his announcements on how he's against Puerto Verde. Okay. Well, I mean,
he was very safe of saying I'm against it once it was denied, and it was.
Exactly.
But I was late in saying it.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
And nobody talks about when Aaron mentioned that he didn't know where he standed on Puerto Verde.
Because he was kind of a confidant.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I mean, nobody says nothing
and I
about
actually asked that question, which he again, I guess for some reason didn't want to put that it was me, asking, hey, where do you stand on this?
Mhm.
Where do you stand on Puerto Verde? Where do you stand on this project that's can shape the future of this this community, good or bad? What's your stance on it? And the quote was, well, I talked to Rolando Salinas. I stand by what he says and how he feels about Puerto Verde. So, plain and simple, if this hurts the community, I'm not gonna be for it. And I kind of was confused a little bit because I was like, okay, is he still for it or is he against it? That's like saying, okay, well, if this bomb drops on our city and if it only takes out half, then I'll be for it. But if it just blows us to smithereens, then I'm against it. Like, not that I'm saying Puerto Verde is going to do that, but I mean, what's your take on that? You guys don't have to comment on that if you don't want to, but that's just my opinion.
We have spoken about Puerto Verde enough.
That was the last. Yeah, that's the last part. We already know where everybody stands on Puerto Verde. So, but
again, and just clarifying, we're not against the third bridge. It was just this specific project,
right, right,
and not for personal, also vendettas or anything. It's just the fact of how the project or what the project stands for.
Right. And then we go back to, just to finish off on that last, from that last session, you guys, we saw on that meeting from July 18th, and you guys just spoke out and we all saw that it was a blank, like there was no exhibits for that health department thing. It was nothing. And even Mayor Salinas was like, okay, well, let's. So when in the end, you guys, okay, well, let's take it back to the drawing board. Let's get some more specifics first, and you guys did mention how you guys are for public health. Mm-hmm. You're not against it, and that's kind of what he was mentioning on his live, that you guys don't care about public health. Well, we saw that you guys mentioned it on those days. I know it was 2 years ago. It's probably fuzzy, but you guys did agree that yes, we do need a public health department, but we need more specifics. This is not enough. It was blank.
It's like voting on something that we don't even know how much we're going to spend. How can I just say, oh yeah, it's like, let me sign a blank check. I don't care. It's the taxpayers' money. Oh no, because also we have a budget and we need to understand that includes everything that we need to, pay for or the plans that we have, the capital improvements, like everything. How can we just sign something that we don't even know how much it's going to cost us? Laredo's health department, which is just their budget is just very, very different than ours, didn't work out. I mean, I believe the county stepped out, something happened that even the now attorney told us, because she's from Laredo, and she said, no, it got to the point that it was just too much. It was overwhelming because it needs a lot of organization, it needs a lot of money. So,
and one thing that, like I said, we're working on, Ruben, it's like, for example, our Parks and Recs. Our Parks and Recs is a deficit for us. Our Parks and Recs cost us so much money to maintain, right? And the reason is because we offer the services for so many people that are not part of the city, right? Okay. So, and that's fine. We can tolerate that. That's fine. We're all for the youth, and we're all for sports, and we're all for the public pool, and we're all for all that good stuff, right? But it gets to the point where let's say the city pool, 3 months, $60,000 for maintenance of it. Okay, we don't even get that money back.
No.
Okay, because it's okay to drop off your child, because we have to take care of your child when they're in there, right? They can't get hurt, because then something will happen. When there's lifeguards, which we already hired, right? So for $5, or let's say 10, let's put it at $10 a day, Monday through Friday. You can drop off your kid at the pool for $10. They buy their snacks at hour 3, and we take care of your kid like a babysitter.
Yeah, yeah, like it's childcare.
It's childcare for 6 hours a day for $10, and $10. I'm exaggerating. And we have the liability of taking care of your child. And I'm saying $10, and that's already above what we charge. I'm not sure if it's $3 to go in or $2 to go into the pool.
I think you have around $3.
So You know, that's why I said I'm exaggerating because you gave them extra snack money. So
Okay.
you tell me if that's a good, you know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, at least that's break even to where the pool isn't costing the city taxpayers money.
right.
Right.
Because you got to maintain
So
it.
those type of things, we have a lot of sports groups, which is great. Like I said, she's a very big advocate for sports, baseball and all that good stuff, you know, but with that, we do a lot to where we set up the teams or we set up the groups and all that good stuff. But then we have to give, you know, we have to pay for the staff. We have to pay, and which is fine. It's part of our duties. But what the fees that we charge don't even cover any of it. So, and then we still get backlash because, oh, they gave me the wrong t-shirt that we wanted.
Oh.
It's like, well, you know.
And then we need to figure it out also sometimes that there's nonprofit organizations that are with the kids and with the teams and they do all these amazing things. And yes, we are, you know, in favor of all that and we want to help. We just need to find a way and a solution that it's fair to everybody.
To everybody.
So yeah, I was talking the other day to somebody who owns a team and we were discussing that. How can we make it work for the nonprofit organizations because they also take care of those kids that are really enjoying playing on summer.
And we need it.
And we need it. Yes. I mean, we have
need to
so
have our
many
kids
problems.
involved. We have to have our kids involved
Busy.
and keep them out of the streets and keep them out of the drugs.
Yes.
You know, I mean, that's priority. But at the same time, we all have to work together. We have to work together in order to keep our budget. You know, we have to maintain our budget because what happens when there's a deficit? It comes out of taxpayer money. When it comes out of taxpayer money, obviously we can't put that money to growth. So Plano, Texas has a good Parks and Recs department that's self-funded. So now we want to push forward that way. See, when we talk about plans, those are the plans that we're looking for. So when we're looking at this,
And we have discussed it, but we haven't. I mean, we didn't have the opportunity to.
when
Right.
we're looking at these things, it's like, okay, that we mentioned last time. You remove us, okay, so we'll just keep Parks and Recs the way it was because it's been working okay. And the city budget, you know, being at a deficit, it's okay to maintain because it's taken care of.
We can change that.
But we can change that to where we can improve it and it'll be self-funded, right? And we're at a border town. We have so much to offer, you know, so many things that we can bring in, but we just have to get our finances in place. And now we have Felix that's working on that good stuff, which is our finance director. We have admin that's coming on board to kind of push things forward. And those are the kind of things that we need to maintain this rhythm. Hence why she would be good, because we already have this momentum that already got started. We have a good board that's in there now at the Parks and Recs board, you know, and all this good stuff to help us out.
And we brought a lot of boards that were not meeting. We have to meet on a monthly basis.
In order to see
And
changes.
people are there because, I mean, they're giving their free time to help. Citizens that are giving that time of themselves because they understand or because they want to give their, you know, it's the same with a youth group. I mean, I remember this girl came to me crying, literally. I have so many ideas and I'm about to graduate last year, I remember clearly. And they haven't even gave us the opportunity to actually do anything. It's frustrating because I didn't do it just for my resume. I did it because I want to do something different. So that's when we got together and said, oh my God, what's happening? We need to keep all those boards or committees, you know, just active. I know it's a lot of work, but that's what they're there for. So that we can actually delegate and we can get a lot of things resolved in a timely manner. And we can get also the help from outsiders or people that are involved in that area so that we can actually do something good. It makes our lives easier, everyone. But if we don't get together and we don't communicate and we don't, you know, actually support those boards, we don't get anywhere. And there's another one too that a gentleman told me. So it started like that. And then another one. And I'm like, what do you mean? Nobody gets together? Like, no, Monica, I mean, it's been 3 years. Like one of them told me, and I'm like, seriously? The youth group, it was just not as bad, but maybe 2 or 3 months. So the kids were kind of disappointed until now that we exaggerated, right? Because we didn't know where to sit them, that we exaggerate and say, you know what, the more the merrier. Let's open more seats on the council, because they're excited. They want to be part of something greater.
They want to put
And
their
show
input.
their ideas.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
that's what
They wanna give
this
their
is all about. And I think that that's what we need.
Mhm.
And we need to take advantage also, because we cannot do it all by ourselves. It's a big team, and it takes a lot of people to actually change.
If you do win the seat, what's your first thing you're going to do as soon as you take
Start
office?
working immediately. I have a big list, and probably that's why they're scared of me. Probably the city manager is freaking out right now. But no, really, we need hands-on, and that's what I keep saying about Mr. Valderas. He's a very hands-on kind of guy, and he's always very attentive. Okay, Ms. Cruz. Okay, so what do you need? Okay, what are your ideas? And it's nice to be heard and to get the help internally as well to get
Mhm.
moving.
And sometimes there's a no.
Yes.
Sometimes don't think that it's like, oh, you know what? I want this moved over here. It's like, okay, we'll look into it. And sometimes the response is a no. It's like, oh, okay. All right. It makes sense. Thank you.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
they ignored us for a little while, okay, yes, thank you, and then maybe they will forget eventually, and then we go back a week later. Hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Because
Catch
not
it.
always it doesn't work always.
If you do win, and so you'll have Jessica Ray, and you have Elias Diaz, and of course you have Billy Davis, who's he's kind of back and forth, whichever.
Yes, good questions. Yes, good questions.
Yeah,
He'll
yeah.
keep you on your toes because you'll never know when he's going to ask something.
Yeah, exactly. And when he does ask something, it's super legit. Like a lot of meetings, he'll be quiet, but or sometimes he might not make it. But then when he's there and asks a question, oh shoot, what's he got to say?
Yeah, it's like
Billy's asking that question.
Yeah,
What's
it's like,
going on here?
Yeah.
So if you do win, do you guys think you'll have a hard time getting everybody united and kind of okay, yeah, this is it. This is what the people decided. Let's work together. What are you guys' plans on that, or how would you guys do it?
Well, we keep working on every item. Pretty much, probably you and me are the ones that keep adding things. Sometimes, eventually things that are very important to us and that we want to keep, moving
well, it's
forward.
But you saw that meeting. You saw the meeting. We didn't decline the health department.
That's a lot.
We wanted
right.
clarification on it.
Right.
At no point was it no. So I think that shows how we're willing to work. You bring an idea to the table. It's not, it's her idea. So, it's let's hear it out. If it makes sense, we push it forward, and we'll support it. We all will. I know, back when the motion was made, we tabled it but we wanted to hear more of it. We
Right.
wanted those clarifications there. We wanted to include those missing pieces because there was missing info.
It showed on there that you guys had said, we're not
All
killing
we
this
wanted, and we kind of already have some departments that could be integrated into the health department. Like the dog pound
Mhm.
is one of them. The food establishment, the health inspectors, that's another one that goes under that wing. So there's already departments that we could integrate into the health department, so that we can put that all together. And that's what we wanted clarification on. We understood what the health department is and what was going to be offered, but we wanted to know, okay, so we're going to take care of this stuff, which is great. We already are. But then you're going to bring what to our table, and what are we liable for?
Right.
Mhm.
What are we responsible for? Are you just going to add stuff to us that we're not going to be able to manage? Or how is this ball going to work?
Right.
So that's all we wanted to know. And then when it came to funding, okay, we're going to give you $100K. That's fine.
But
it's
you also
good.
have to show us where or how it was spent.
Mhm.
Right.
Right.
And
Something that we asked for, right?
And did they?
what's the say so,
No.
In layman's terms, the proposal was to have the city pay $100K, to have the county donate a building, and then let Maverick County Hospitals just take over. Right?
And they were going to ask for grants, and they were going to manage the money.
Okay.
Okay, well, okay, but yet you're signing off on city. You know, city's the one that's signing off, and we're not going to be administering it.
And yet they
Right.
were the ones who were going to have the ability to either close things or not. So we cannot let one entity only to have 100% control
Right.
when we are part of it.
Right.
So if that makes sense, right?
Mhm.
No, that makes perfect sense. The
And
city's got
that's
to
why
have
we
some
ask
kind
so
of.
many questions.
And then that's why, you know, doctors and other entities were reaching out. How is this going to impact us?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
You
like
know,
it's like a partnership.
You
I
know,
mean,
and it is a partnership, and that's why at the time it was recommended through Ms. Cruz that we build a board based on boom, 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 each entity, you know, each ball player to take effect on there, you know, because even the school district has a high amount of nurses.
yeah,
You know, we keep one nurse per campus. We have well, if you include even our DAP, it's 24 campuses.
Yeah.
You know, but to take care for the kids. So we hire a lot of RNs. You know, I'm not saying that they would take part in that board, but if they wanted to, you know what, you need my nurses like they did back in COVID. Here they are.
Here they are.
yeah.
You know,
And I know someone had Miss Yessi Guerrero. She put out it has to have checks and balances.
Exactly.
and that's what it was
And that's what it
about.
was
See,
about. Yeah.
and it wasn't explained that way. And this is just to tell you, I mean, we can all work together, as you saw in that movie, that video. It's about us working together. It's not about I can't work with you and goodbye.
And he took it personal.
Yeah, you could tell. Again, don't take my word for it. Go watch the
No, and
video.
we were on the phone later, right? Because he wanted an explanation from each one of, individually. And I said, I'm not against it. I think that's your baby, and I understand. And I'm here to support you 100%. But you have to understand, too, that you have a responsibility on this end of the table,
Right.
too, as
Mhm.
council
Right.
person. And we have to know what we're doing as the city,
Yeah, it's
because
like
we represent.
yeah, the city is he's asking the city to be a chief funding operator or officer. So like a CFO in a business who puts all the money up front and says, here you go, let's I'll be a silent partner and we'll get the ball rolling on it. But I need to know what's going on. But you can't just, okay, I'm giving you money for your business. Then you just go make money and I'll just be over here.
And not
Right.
even-
And I'll handle it and I control it.
Yeah,
and
you guys
maybe
got
them
it.
not even make money, you know, because we didn't know that the how things were going to funnel out. Maybe they weren't going to make money, but just the administering of it,
Mhm.
Right. okay.
expensing of it. You know,
Right.
how are you going to expense it?
Yeah.
And then you're also offering it through a one entity only. Well, what happens to Fort Duncan, UMC, the private doctors? It had to be fair.
Right.
Mhm.
It had to be fair. And if your goal is that, and that's what I told him, and he can agree that I said those words even publicly and then on the phone.
We saw them on there. Yeah.
That if your goal is to have a health department, well, why are you so against having that kind of board or committee where we have a little bit of everyone
Mhm.
there? I mean, if the goal is having the health department, then the goal is there, and it's a way to do it fairly. So why are you against that? Or you're going to be against it because you don't like that part? That's the part that we started questioning.
And it like I said, it shows that you guys, by how he portrayed it. I know you guys didn't watch the video, but how he portrayed it is that you two are going to be standing in the way of public health.
And then was it an item in this past meeting that I was not included anymore, that I was not part of it? Okay, I didn't know if
No.
it was
this
brought
all
back.
came up because of a live, apparently.
So it just started like that because of the campaign, not because it was an item on the agenda. Okay.
It was used for campaign purposes.
Okay.
Right. So I mean that all falls in with transparency.
Mhm.
I mean, we asked you guys the questions and you're giving it to us. All we got to do is go watch the city council meeting. It's there. They have a whole library of years of council meetings, and anyone can go watch watch the video and be okay. Hey, maybe send you a message. Hey, Councilwoman Cruz, why did you? I want to know what your take is on why you guys turn this down or whatever. I think media should be doing that too. Are you guys allowed to, like, after a city council meeting and you guys vote on something and someone asks you, hey, so how come you guys voted no on this item? Or what are your thoughts on
No
that?
media actually ever goes to our council meetings. to be
It's
honest with you.
weird. Yeah,
Why
it's
not?
weird. I don't
I
know.
think
They
they're
just go
important.
when something, specific, like a celebration or something, and they
Okay.
go. And or when we had the issue with all the immigration,
Mhm.
they were there. But because it was just a national kind of thing. But yeah,
But
we
not-
barely.
actually, it'd be nice if people would start going to our
Yes.
council meetings because
Mhm.
not many people go.
And we actually recommended it once when I got there, because I was like, that way everybody explains the why not and what why we
Mhm.
agreed on, and it's easier for people to understand, and that way we don't get so many distortion on the story.
Right. And so encouraging people. to
But
go
then
to
they
these
told me
meetings.
that the mayor always have like a media kind of thing in the next day, I believe, if not mistaken, or one day of a week. Maybe it's not there anymore because we were never there. It was something completely separate.
So-
But
So
Maybe a
pretty
summary
much.
day or something.
yeah, the mayor had like the one day, but we as council never went. But yeah, they were doing it after every Tuesday. I don't know if it was Wednesday or
Mhm.
Thursday, but they get together with the mayor to ask the questions about the meeting.
Oh.
So, we had a question here. Someone named Cecilia Delgado Valdez. Well, what was presented by the rest of the council to substitute the proposal? I'm not sure. Are we talking about this proposal? The one for
The health department.
the health department. I think maybe that's what they meant on that.
All we asked was for transparency, to have a contract that it was completed, to have our conditions were to have a board, at the Bears
Mhm.
board, and they just rather say, you know what, it's not going to happen, and that's it, and let's just leave it here. So they never brought it back.
Wow.
What?
Okay. Wow. So much for that, right? I mean, that's. I'm just gonna say, if I was Councilman Diaz, I'd be okay. Well, let's come up with something else to try to get this thing going.
I said, yeah, bring it.
And
Mhm.
instead of just like, well, you guys don't want this, and that's
Let it die.
it's.
But and this is where we have to take into account the different motions we can make. We can table a motion, which is when you can put it on hold and we will see it later, or you can deny an action. You say no action, no, and that kills the project.
Wow. Okay.
So
It has
this-
to be brought again as a new project. But if you table it, you just put in it for
Put
the
on
next
hold.
meeting.
Until updates are done, and then you continue on.
And he just let it die. He
And
just,
no. In this case, I believe it was placed on hold.
Oh yeah.
It was a table item. We can bring it back
Mhm.
at a later
I don't
time.
remember. Yeah, I never.
Is it still
brought it
tabled,
back.
or is it?
It's still tabled.
It's still
It's still
tabled.
sleeping. If you want to call it a table, it's
Still-
sleeping.
I like that. I like it.
Yeah,
Still
so we
sleeping.
can put it in those terms. When you table it, you put it to sleep,
Yeah.
and you can wake it up at any time and bring it back.
That's how that
So-
works. I
Because
didn't know
it didn't
that.
die.
See,
Right.
Didn't die yet.
I
And
didn't know
that's where now this is coming about, where it's like, okay, now that this conversation came about a few days ago, are you going to wake it up again?
True.
Now that supposedly you're going to have your 3 votes,
Because I'm out of the.
Council.
out of the loop. Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So no matter what Billy and I might say or fight, it just depends on 3 votes that are there.
Yep.
Based on how we're seeing things that they're going.
You're going.
If we're gonna go through the buddy system, we're gonna approve it just because, well, I got my 3 friends here. Well, that's
Mhm.
great.
And then later they're gonna blame you for it because you didn't do nothing. You
Just
did
like they
nothing.
did
You did nothing.
57
With
South,
the,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We voted against it, 3 voted for it, but yet we're the ones that
It's
Are
your
we
fault.
wrong?
It's your guys' fault. Yeah, for voting against it. But
we're
Yeah.
part of the motion.
yeah,
and,
part
and,
of
and the funniest part is, again, that we gave the idea that, you know what, let's just leave it here. We lose the million, and we do a lawsuit to the state because we couldn't do the concert because of the Shelby Park closure, and we can recuperate the money. Well, they continue, and yet they got the money a year later.
What's your guys' message
So at
to?
least we got
Mhm.
something.
What's your message
Which is not right.
to Elias? What you guys do? You guys have like a personal message for him, or something that I don't know.
No.
Not
Nothing, huh?
really. I mean, it's just
I mean, there's no real message that we have to send out to each other through this media. And the reason I say it is because I think we are. I mean, if I had to tell him something or something, I could pick up the phone and be like, "Hey, man,
Correct.
what's going on?"
Mm-hmm.
There's no real need for me to use the media or an in between or or a middleman to relay my message.
Right.
Because we keep doing
and he's
this
vice
thing.
versa.
It's never
you know?
gonna end.
When there was something else out there, he reached out to me, and I feel comfortable enough. Like actually after this meeting here that you saw yourself, I gave him a ride home.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we battled it out like we talked about there. And then almost every meeting I tell him, hey, do you need a ride home? You know, because for whatever reason, this, that, and the other, they'll drop him off because he's always running around and this and that.
Yeah.
It's like, do you need a ride home? So they don't pick you up. Sometimes he says yes, sometimes he has his hard car there, or they'll pick him up. You know, it was just one of those things. So I don't think we need a
medium.
middle.
That's good.
To take
Well,
care
yeah,
of it.
that is good. And you really, I mean, you guys really haven't used any. I mean, didn't have Mario going live to jump on and start defending you, you know, or come sit next to you to defend you from the evil people who are slandering you, and then they're blaming it on you. You guys ran a good, clean campaign, and
Thank you.
and you did. You did run a good, clean campaign. And I don't know, we can't control what some supporters like. I could create a fake profile, put your face on it, and say, "Oh, talk all this stuff about Aaron." You know what I mean? And anybody could do that.
I saw a picture the other day where you were kissing somebody.
That's what I'm telling you. I mean, they even did that.
That was the AI.
Yeah, it was like they took the time to actually, put it together. That's amazing. They have
People
talent.
have nothing to do.
Yeah, and compro y vendo has
And
become.
actually, I was sitting in that table. I was like, I remember that.
And they were like, Monica, have you seen that you're kissing with? And I'm like, what? When? And never.
You know,
And
that
they're like, oh well,
picture-
don't see it. It's fine.
If I'm not mistaken,
It's
that,
better
that
you
was a
don't look at it.
birthday luncheon, wasn't it?
Yes, when half of the table doesn't even show in the picture, and we
But
know
that
who took
was-
that picture. That's the funniest part
It was
ever.
a birthday.
We never got that picture. Somebody specifically took it, so we know who that is.
Who
And
is
they
it?
cut half of the picture, and it was like
But-
that. Yes, and you know who that
and-
is. It's, no, it's
She hasn't
funny.
seen it.
It's funny
Yeah,
because
that
we
was
know,
a luncheon.
probably she doesn't remember that she was the one taking the picture.
Oh, it's a she.
And it was like
Yeah.
the out of like last minute invitation invite, because it was the birthday of the other half of
It
like,
was a
so-
friend's. It was a friend's birthday. We were all invited there. We went,
Yes.
and I think I was sitting on the opposite side. That's why I don't come up. And
Yeah,
it's
he was
that
there.
end. I was here. All this row was full. The end. I think the end chairs were also full.
Mhm.
But they happened to be there, and okay, they took the picture, but they cropped it because the actual picture, it shows everybody on the table.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
So that's when I said,
Put the
"Oh
whole
my
picture.
God, you
Well,
forgot that
we
you
had
were
the
the only
picture, we
one
were
who took
showing
that
it.
picture, and it
But
was
you
never
guys don't
like
have
But
it.
we didn't
shared.
take the picture.
Yeah, it was the
So
she.
it's like, okay,
I mean, I
Yeah, actually, we know her anonymous name.
and you know what? I think it's cool to be a citizen, to be able to have lunch with like the mayor or with council people and stuff. But man, if I'm gonna get my picture all over Compro, like holy crap, it's gonna see me and Mario there at having lunch or something. But oh look, the two best friends who grew up together. He paid off the media. Okay, that's
Yeah.
what's
the
gonna.
other day,
You
actually,
have.
the other day, there was 3 of us eating at a restaurant, and they reported us on Comprivendo. Can anybody confirm these 3 people eating together? It's like eating breakfast together. And then that same day, I had lunch with another set of people, and I was like, I don't know if y'all want to have lunch with me because I might get reported again.
I know. Yeah, like I had to. That's all I need. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but you'll have somebody's gonna take pictures, and then
Of
that's
course.
and that's sad. It's really
talk
sad
smack.
that it's a small town. So like,
And nothing wrong with it, I mean,
Yeah,
except when it's ill-intended. It's like, seriously,
yeah.
or you can put down there, Councilman Garcia hasn't answered my question or answered back to me in 3 weeks. Tell me where he's at so I can go catch up with him. That's different. That's shame on me for not responding to your calls. But I usually go out to eat breakfast every Saturday. I'll go have breakfast and coffee with somebody every Saturday, or lunch.
And going back to your question, I knew right away that it was a campaign thing.
Right.
That live, because exactly as you said, we can pick up the phone and we can talk about it.
Mhm.
I mean,
Right.
anytime. And he knew
Why do
what
social
our
media?
position was.
Like,
Yeah, why
mhm.
why going back and
Even
forward?
before the
publicly too.
even
Yes.
before that,
Yeah.
even
very
before that meeting,
childish.
we
Yeah,
had
yeah,
talked
that's true.
about what we were needing. Before the presentation, we had already talked before that. So it's not like it was blindsided during the meeting that we are requesting this. No, more than anything, it was we knew what we were talking about when we were requesting certain things because we had already seen this. Let's say this was the contract. We had already seen the document and we already knew what we wanted out of it. At the time when we're at the meeting and we don't see it, it's when we question it. And if you notice, a lot of the times I have reacted,
It's because of that.
it's because I get provided with, like, for example, the pays. You know, I got given a sheet. Oh, we're going to talk about teachers. We're going to do the pays this time, right? And I start seeing 14s and 0. 14. What the hell is this 14s and 0 stuff? You know, and I see, you know, certain PDE officers and this and the other, like, yeah, I know this guy. I know this guy. Well, wait a minute, why are they not giving them raises, you know? And then why are these people above here? What? So I start asking questions. So, and that's what I've said it. And I've told them, you know, you give me things last minute on the desk.
That's when it's kind of.
And that's when it's like, why are you trying to sneak this through?
Right. You're doing your job.
And
You're
then
doing
I'm
your
not
job.
saying Elias was trying to sneak this through. No, I'm talking about another document. Okay, I'm talking about the raises at the time. And it's because the table of 14, after 14 years, you stop getting raises.
Okay.
Well, tell me any employee that after 14 years, you might get the COLA, and all your other colleagues that are in year 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 14 are getting their COLA and are getting this, but yet they get 3% increase, but yet you don't because you already maxed out at 14.
Okay.
Well, where's
So
my benefit?
That's why he supported me when he came in and he came along because I was asking for a pay audit.
You know,
It didn't
all
make
those
sense.
It
things.
didn't make sense.
You know, it's like, why are you doing this? You know, I mean, I would want that 3%, that 2%, whatever. And they're like, well, because of this, now we're going to give them 1%. Well, 1% is not the 3 that you're getting. And I've had several employers, you know, I've been in the military, I've been in the public sector, and I've been in the private sector. And it's like, I've never felt that I have maxed out my wanting to be here. If not, why be here?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That's why we lose.
I mean, we work for money. We don't work because, I mean, yes, it's great when you love your job and you consider it your hobby,
right?
But you also need that money.
Yeah.
So,
You
and
feed your
when you
family.
limit it and you see everybody else getting it,
Getting
and you're
it.
like, hey, man, you know,
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, it's been ugly. I mean, I think you guys have all seen it. For those of you who joined us, this is Now You Know Eagle Pass podcast. We're here with Monica J. Cruz. She's the mayoral candidate for the city of Eagle Pass. Of course, we are graced with the presence of Councilman Mario Garcia, who has joined us. No, that wasn't a snarky remark. No. Of course, we got my partner Veronica Pena. We've talked about some of your announcements or your additions to your platforms, during the runoff. We talked about this whole bullying thing. We've talked about, I've put my piece on the other campaign. We pretty much covered how you guys work together, how city council actually works. And I think that it would be good for you guys to do more of this, be able to kind of talk about your work and how everything's gone with the city and stuff. And, it kind of puts a label to, or like a big sticker on transparency, because I didn't know any of this stuff. Like, I didn't know any of this stuff until, Councilman Diaz went on live and started talking. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's this all about? And so I go through and there it was, and giving you guys the ability to a platform to speak on that and kind of explain what happened. Like we're getting a lot of comments that there's clarity on what happened.
Of course.
So,
and I've always, even since I ran, I kind of ran with that. It's about transparency, and every candidate says that they want transparency, yes or no. But you kind of show when, like I told you right now, actually, we never see media in our meetings. We would like to see media. The good thing is that our meetings are actually live, and they're actually recorded on through YouTube. But there's other entities that hide and they don't allow media into their meetings.
wow.
Why is that? I mean,
actually, now that we're talking about it, MCHD actually got to the point that he didn't want any media on them.
No media in the.
So
for the
then
board
it's been
meetings.
happening for a while now. So that's, again, we need to include them. We
Mhm.
need
Right,
to
right.
have them there. Why? Because we don't have
We want
anything
that
to
transparency.
hide.
Why? I mean,
It's
if
even
you're
easier
not
for us.
doing
Yes or
anything
no?
wrong, there should be no reason for you not to be able to explain why. It's like if your boss asks you, why did you do this? You know, or why are you requesting this person be fired? You know, because
Right,
sometimes
yeah.
as supervisors, you have to make that decision,
Right.
and you have to make that recommendation letter, unfortunately.
It just feels like the Wild West.
Right. You can't say, oh, just because I felt like it. No, he's going to say, what are you, crazy? You know, we're
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
get sued, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
Well, you know what? Because they were late 15 times out of the 3 months probation period.
Mhm.
You know what? I call them stealing. You know what? I call them this. Oh, that makes sense. Do you have
Oh,
your,
thank you.
your,
Thank you
your
so much.
supporting documentation? Yes. And you attach it and you go with it, right? You can push forward. It's the same thing with us. You know, you asked about that event, any other event. Why did you make this decision? Based on this, this, and this. These are my facts. This is how I understood it based on what my knowledge of
But
certain
if people
topics.
follow every meeting, then they will understand.
You know,
And that's the correct thing to
and
do.
because
Yeah,
people
right.
are ultimately our bosses. You know, people are ultimately our bosses. They put us there for a reason,
Mhm.
right? So we have to give them, explain to them
Explanation.
what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Many times, some meetings or some questions that they ask are to the point where I say, "Did you watch the meeting?" No, well, it's because okay, you need to go back and watch the meeting. If you
Yes.
don't understand it, then
Mhm.
come back to us.
Same thing right now. Did you vote? You know why?
Did you
Because
vote? Yeah.
you complain and you want to change, but you don't vote.
Just go out and
Right.
vote.
Get
I
on
mean,
vote.
stop complaining on
Same
social
thing.
media.
Yeah,
Mhm,
yeah.
same
Compra y
thing.
vendo.
It's compra y vendo has been the. Has
We
been
have
the
to
spot.
be more involved,
They should
and
take it
that's
off.
something that we have never done in our community.
Mhm.
There's very few people the same way that we have the registered voters, and maybe a couple of low thousands are there. The same thing with involvement.
Mhm.
I mean, involvement it's a key for us to really understand what we need, what we can do together. But if you're not involved, then how can we complain?
Mhm.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, absolutely.
and anytime there's an issue that we can address, we try to take care of it, you know, or guide you to where it can get done.
Mhm.
You know, and it's that simple. You know, there was a particular person that put in a complaint. I tried to ask for the complaint, see what it was, and she said, no, it's according to your finances, and they're wrong. And okay, well, can you give me more details so I can
Mhm.
investigate it?
Right.
And no, because I want to follow this. Okay, well, thank you for letting me know, but thank you for not telling me, I guess, because you didn't tell me the whole spiel so I can figure out what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep,
So, like I said, you give us the problem, we'll run with it, we'll fix it.
Mhm.
You know, you want our support, we'll grab it and we'll push it to the right person, or we'll channel it to where it should be taken care of. And that's pretty much what council members and the mayor are. You know, yes, we bring ideas together. Yes, we yay or nay projects, and we introduce new projects, but also we are facilitators.
Yes.
Right? We are
Right.
facilitators
Exactly.
for the community. We're here to help you resolve your problems. Right? You know what? I have a cat infestation. I was, at a street earlier, and they're like, you know what, man? This street has so many cats. I was like, what are you talking about? You know, like, you need to come down here and see.
Yeah. You
So
got,
I drove down there before
Let
I
me
got
tell
here.
you, Suncrest.
Well,
In that area.
so I head down there, and I'm like, this person, he's probably talking about one or two cats. And he's like, no, look, my whole house is peat. I have no pets. And I was like, well, maybe you need to sprinkle a little cayenne pepper or something, But, but the thing is, when I get there, you know what? We do have a cat problem that we have to.
How many
that
did
we
you
have to.
see?
I mean, I saw pregnant cats walking around.
Oh my
I saw
God.
cats laying around. If I must have seen like 10, 15 just standing in the middle of this person's house,
Yes.
just going like this. And he's like, and that's not even where they live. They live over there. It's like, oh crap. Okay. All right. So I don't
But
want
he
to.
does exist.
And I'm
yeah.
allergic to cats. So it's like, I better not go to that. But, that's the thing. I mean, if you bring us a problem, we will take care or try to facilitate it or channel it to the appropriate department or the appropriate thing, usually dealing with the city manager. And I mean, usually because many times it's like, hey, by the way, this is here, like a pothole,
Right.
can we take care of this? But, or we have a group chat too, through council members, where we post a lot of the stuff.
We cannot make decisions, but we just post, hey, we need to take care of
or
this.
we have
Hey,
a basic question, they'll tell us about events, they'll tell us about
an accident
happening, blah, blah, blah. Major happenings. Shelby Park is being shut down. Shelby Park is open now.
And in the end, we
got
started
$1
getting
million.
a little bit better, right? Because we were not always on the loop of things. And it was kind of frustrating because now they say, okay, in case that somebody asks you, we just got this. And we just, got a response from
or
here.
Accident 277, blah, 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 because of this reason.
Exactly.
In case somebody asks you, which is good.
Wow. Well, guys, we've hit an hour and 38 minutes.
Oh my God.
My goodness.
We'll start wrapping up in just a second. But so just if anybody who's just joining us, we did talk about, we started from the beginning. We went over, some abandoned buildings pitches that they, tried
Jorge
to.
Vasquez said something.
Oh, did he?
Remember, it was
yeah.
Mr.
There's a
Vasquez,
question.
but I
Yes,
don't
let's
know.
ask. Yeah, let's do the
Was it
questions
Jorge,
really quick.
Jesus, or but it was Vasquez.
It started with homeless people and then something else.
Oh, yeah, he was just making some comments like
No,
us.
it was a question on there.
It was a question.
Homeless, but it started the comment said homeless people, and then it had more on after that. It was weird.
There it is. It says, okay, I'll put it on screen here. It says, homeless people. This is a good subject. Is there a management system to help people without a home, like a shelter? I've never heard of EP having one.
Yeah, we don't.
I've seen people walking around.
Do we have a lot of homeless people?
Not
Yeah.
a lot, but I mean, there's a
When
couple.
and let me tell you, the only time that we can actually try to handle the situation is when we have any kind of emergency. And actually the police officers are looking because we already know our people where they sleep or where they
try to find
hide
them,
or
like
they find their own spots,
breezes and floods and all that.
so
good
we
stuff.
try,
that's
and
good.
even though we try to get them out,
They don't
some
want to.
people don't want to leave. And it's, you cannot force anybody. So yes, it is true. It will be a great project to actually look into something to have more of
and,
organized matter.
and that's what these citizens communications meetings are for. Portions of the meetings
And
are
again,
for.
the open door policy.
The open
I
door
think that
policy,
it's
yeah.
very important to have a day with the mayor. I think it will be great to have the city manager and kind of just hear all the complaints, and not necessarily complaints only, also
ideas.
and suggestions, because together we can work better.
That's what you got to offer us as mayor.
Of course.
Awesome.
One of many things.
All right. Awesome. Well, definitely one of many things. And, just want to thank you guys again for joining us and, being able to come and, talk on the platform. I try to tell everybody that the podcast and the news is separate. As a news, me doing articles and stuff, I try to be unbiased. Of course, obviously, wow, who doesn't get paid to do promotions for campaigns? It's a job. So, and everyone's like, oh well, and I would get these messages like, so you're endorsing Monica? So are you endorsing Monica? And I'm like, first of all, if I'm to endorse her right now, like my endorsement doesn't mean anything. Like I'm not gonna bring in.
You know what? When we say endorsement, I usually call it support.
Yeah, support. Yeah, there's a difference, and that's why I try to tell everybody. Everybody gets mad. Oh, you're just being a hater because he's got all the endorsements. Well, an endorsement should mean something, like especially.
Well, I remember when we ran, I had some endorsements there, and I never posted any.
No, yeah, and I was
actually
like,
said I don't want to take pictures. I don't want anybody to come out because I don't want anything to happen.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
and we talked about it.
Yeah, we did. We
Afterwards,
talked about
you and I, and we had a situation where a group that was or is endorsing the other candidate, you can take it as harassed a voter.
Oh wow.
It was reported, and up until now that I know of, it's under investigation on it, or whatever the case might be.
Wow.
Because they took it upon themselves to say, you do know we are. Well, I wasn't calling for that. I was calling for something else, but thank you for letting me know that I cannot trust you.
Yeah, we talked about that one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy. And Yeah.
So really, are we using endorsements to intimidate people? Or are we using endorsements to see the great job we're going to do?
Mhm.
What are endorsements really?
Right. Yeah.
You know,
uh,
I mean, I understand what you're saying. It's great to have the support of, but is it the support of 2-3 people out of 50 people?
Weird things
Yeah.
happen in this campaign. I mean, things that we never consider that we will ever see, because even some things that happen, and you know what I'm talking about, actually break the civil rights of the people who were entitled to support whoever they wanted after
Right.
working hours,
Mhm.
and that's insane.
Because it's in the charter. And the city charter is old. And the charter prohibits staff members from supporting any candidate even after working hours except fire and PD
Which
department.
is ridiculous.
But that law breaks or their First Amendment. They send out a memo based off San
several
Antonio.
times.
several times.
But San Antonio now, as of 2 or 3 years from now, removed that from their charter. So that means we're behind
Oh, wow.
on our policies.
Mhm.
See what I was saying about we want to make sure our processes and our procedures and our policies are up to date, because right now we're denying people their First Amendment right to support any candidate they want based on our charter.
Mhm.
Now, let's say you're like, okay, I want to challenge that charter, and you'll probably beat us, but we'll
Mhm.
probably have to fire you because you broke the rule of expressing your First Amendment right. So
Wow.
see how we're also caught in the middle of,
Yeah, because you guys have laws.
do you want to challenge the city? Because our charter says one thing and you know what the rules are.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to have to fire you, but then you're going to sue us, and then you're probably going to win,
so that okay,
and you're
yes,
going to put us in a dilemma.
Yeah.
I think I
And
see
that's what
you-
happened in other cities. See, and but we have to follow our charter no matter what.
Yeah.
So
That's
maybe
laws.
we're intimidating now our employees not to vote.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or not to
That's
express
that's
their
that-
right.
That's where that
Mhm.
comes from. Yeah.
See, so
See.
it's a big pot of stuff that we have to figure out, we have to fix. And as these problems are coming out, we're going to start, or we're addressing them. Not we're going to start, we're addressing
Mhm.
like
Right.
that one in particular.
And what do you guys suggest before we wrap up? What do you guys suggest, us as regular citizens do, like, to get educated on this stuff? Do you,
Ask questions.
Yeah.
Ask questions and request the truth, and don't take the F for an
And
answer.
not
Yeah.
everything is as negative as it
No.
looks.
Mhm.
Everything has
Not everything's shady.
exactly.
Yeah.
Everything has a reason behind it, and we are here to
There
answer.
has to be a supporting reason behind
Mhm.
the action.
And as you can see, the support is there. If
Right.
you go through the meetings, if you go and ask for anything in particular, it's there.
And it just
Right.
depends on how people portray it. And I mean by media. And we've all seen those
Mhm.
pictures where the lion is biting the head off something, but really it's carrying it to another safe location, right? Or
Yeah.
where I shared a picture the other day where I think it was
I saw it.
was it Prince Harry or something
Mhm.
like that? He was doing this, but then you saw it from another angle, and you thought he was doing the finger,
It was the opposite.
and it was the
Mhm.
opposite. He was doing 3 or something like
Mhm.
that with his, but on a different angle it showed. But it just depends what the media wants to portray.
Right. Right.
So in this case, when the media is portraying something, okay, I'm not telling you guys to change it. I'm saying you guys, because you're media.
Mhm.
Right.
What I'm saying is we have to, maybe us that we're inside, we get to see that. It's like, no, dude, that didn't go that way. Or why are you saying this if that's not the way it went?
Yeah.
But maybe the people can actually send us an email, and say, so I saw this at, now, so what's going on with this, sir? Oh, well,
That will change
Yeah.
the city.
or you know what?
Yeah.
If you can, and go back to this meeting here, and we might even attach the
The link.
link and check it out. It's pretty good. Even sometimes after we come from executive session, we'll make a motion. A lot of the times we'll try to give a little feedback as much as we can, though, because it's limited. Like we said,
Mhm.
in executive session, it's limited what we can say. But when we come out, we try to give a little feedback as to why we made certain decisions.
And we have changed that, because before it was just like,
Yes, no, and that's it.
And people were like, yes and no to what?
Yeah, and sometimes they're like, oh my god, you're talking more than you should, but you don't give the main points. You just give reason as to, because of the best interest of whatever, or whatever the case might have been, this is what was decided back there. And okay, we can kind of give you a little heads up of why, but you also have to watch our meetings.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Get informed. What you guys, the city of Eagle Pass posts the meetings on the Facebook page every time. But yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, but the city is moving forward. I mean,
Right.
above anything, the city is moving forward. It is growing. And we just need to have more meetings, to be honest with you, Ruben.
Oh, yes, that's something that
Is it once
that
every
I
Tuesday?
begged.
Every first Tuesday? of the month?
Every first
Tuesday of the
but
month.
you know what? Because if you do the math, man, 12 meetings mandatory. Okay, that's fine. But imagine, in order to push a new rule, a new project,
And then you have
takes
three readings.
So that's why everything looks so slow.
So that goes to what? 3 months.
3 months minimum.
Oh.
That's unless we table an item. Then that means that I already pushed it to 4 months.
Oh god.
For that item to be approved.
And then
And
you guys
that
have the
was
special
one
meetings.
of my suggestions over and over and over again. A minimum of 2. They're like, no, because that it's not mandatory, because, by law, it's just 1. And that's the one that, counts, that it's mandatory, and the other ones are considered special. And then if it, not everyone can attend, well, that's, how it is. And it's not. So no, because, and then also I wanted to put, but it has to go through the polls as well, that instead of having 3 readings, change it to 2.
Change it to 2. That way projects can be expedited, because many times the third reading, it's just we talked about this last time. Yeah, okay. That's why many times it's like on third reading let's get it going. We want that project done. So that's also a problem, that they're like, no, the city's moving so slow. It's not that we want it to be so slow. It's that it takes us 3 readings to do a lot of things. 3 readings is 3 months. And then let's say you bring us a project. Oh yeah, we like this, we like that. But you know what? I don't like red paint. Can you change that to red paint? I guess.
Another month.
You know what? And this is just a silly example, okay? But I don't like that. So, or you know what? Those benches or whatever, or those type of designs, whatever, change them to this because of safety reasons, or put a disabled ramp on here instead, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we'll table it. When you make those changes, bring it back, and then we accept the motion. So that already pushed us a month again.
And then in planning, like in new subdivisions or anything like that, even a change of zoning, and then it goes through change of zoning to another project. I mean, to show the project itself, and then the phases, and then
And as a
it is
builder,
a lot.
as
And
a
what
builder,
I
that's costing you money.
and what I usually tell, and how I actually started with that, is because in planning, and because I'm familiar with the time consumption of every single project and the cost for the investors in general, by the time every month that passes by, if they have a contract of like a sales contract in between, also the changes on the planning department, it means that even an extension can cost them 10 to 20 grand, and every extension is every 30 or 60 days, and they can either terminate the contract or they need to keep paying and hard money. So sometimes they say, you know what, no, I'm going to stop here, and it doesn't come to life. Or in the event of a new subdivision, they keep paying interest and interest and interest in the bank. So guess what, in the end you pay interest, and in the end that lot that they're selling after so many, because it comes, eventually to a year, after they started, from one thing to the next. Well, imagine all those interests, who ends up paying for it.
Right.
The cost of the land ends up being very high, and we're all part of it. It's just it's like a chain. So we need to prevent that from happening also. If we keep moving everything faster, obviously, if efficiently and the right way, we can do things faster. And they're going to be cheaper in the end.
So I didn't know. I didn't know about all this. Why wouldn't the average citizen come and just kind of pull you guys aside and ask you some questions? And can you relate to someone that might think that, I don't know, let's say I don't really know Councilman Garcia very well. I don't know. Is he approachable? Like, should I ask him a question? Is he?
I have a dog face, but really, I'm very.
Yeah. You have to smile more, man. Yeah.
I'm serious. Yeah.
You do look too serious.
Yeah. So,
But once you get to know me, or like we've talked, and at first I was like, and then we started talking, and boom,
pulled it
he
off.
listens and he listens and he listens, and then once he talks.
Yeah. See, I wasn't that much of a loudmouth jerk. I was actually a pretty good guy after a while. So
I'm sorry.
No, it's good, and,
So-
and it all comes back to educating people. I mean, everyone, and just being open.
yeah,
Or
absolutely.
follow them on their social media.
Yeah, you have social media, and ask them a question if you guys have something, or watch the city council meetings. Be part of if you're concerned, be a part of the citizens communication meetings. I mean, they can't respond to you right away, but they remember. It's not
They'll
like
get
they're
back at you.
yeah, they'll get back to you. I think one time I went there a long time ago, like maybe a year into your term. I think I went up about speeding bumps, and right away you came down and come talk to me, and I was like, wow, shoot, I wasn't expecting this. And I appreciated that, and I know anybody else would appreciate that. So guys,
We're facilitators, Ruben, and that's what we're there for. We're there to facilitate your concerns, right? We're supposed to be there to channel them and get them done, right? Now, maybe the process that it has to be taken, maybe it's not the one that you want, and we're not going to do it like, just because I want to get it done, we have to get it done. Maybe sometimes everything has to go through a process, right? And sometimes it has to go through a budget, because, you're like, well, this street, some people were like, well, it's because the garage to my house, the driveway, when it rains, all the water goes in it. Okay, what do you want me to do about it? Well, can you put a drain there, like by it? So why don't you raise up your driveway then?
Yeah.
Kind of deal. Because
Mhm.
ours is going to take us a budget amendment. It's going to take us a fiscal year. So we can actually go in there and do a whole street repair because your driveway was done under street level.
Yeah, it's
You get me?
Yes.
I want to help
gotta ask
you,
the question.
but I cannot help you because it's not city responsibility that your
Mhm.
driveway
Right.
was underneath.
Yeah, you just got to ask the questions. That's
Right.
it.
And we can try to explain it, the best way we can.
Mhm.
And believe me, we go out and ask. It's like, oh yeah, can you tell me why this is happening? Why we cannot do this? Why we can do this? We try to follow through, and we try to give you as best that we can, or an adequate response to your needs.
Okay, absolutely. And again, it's all about asking the questions. We'll get the answers.
Mhm.
That's it. Before we wrap up, so we're almost 2 hours. So we'll probably have to wrap up. This was it was interesting. It's very informative. I think we'll kind of make bits and pieces of this podcast for everybody. If they want to, if they don't want to watch the full 2 hours, we'll compensate you guys on that. But thank you all for joining us. We get to step into the shoes of the council people, and I don't think you guys do that enough, or I don't think the media or some media people don't give you that opportunity, or they just burn bridges with you and they don't really like you, but they still want an interview anyways. So
Are you saying that because of you?
no, absolutely not. No, we're talking about another character here that I'm not going to make relevant today,
The one
but
that sat
And
next to me
just
today.
for clarification,
it's probably as an
Ruben,
emergency podcast.
part of
right
all
now.
these responsibilities that we just talked about, they come with a pay of $10 a month
Oh yeah, that's right.
minus taxes.
That's right.
Just to put that out there, people think that our pay is I don't
Millions
know
of
what
dollars.
else, or
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we are.
This past year, it got to 120 the year, right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you pay taxes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've interviewed with Eddie Morales too, and we even said the same thing. Like his state rep salary is not paying for his house. It's him being a lawyer. It's him working.
Mhm.
You guys, you're a realtor. You work
Yep.
food service in the ISD. You guys all have regular jobs.
And yeah,
You
just
know.
to put that out there, because they're like, pero pa eso les pagan. No, I mean,
If you
It-
would see the pay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And and that's what, and we really are, and I mean, we really are out there because we really do want to help.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
You
And
know,
we could see that.
And
we can
whichever
see that.
way that each one of us, because there's 5 of us, that we can put our piece into it, everybody's putting a little piece. Because believe me, I think at the time when we were out there, I think they even cut our meetings short to 10 to end at 10 now.
They
think,
usually go pretty late.
yeah, because they used to
Yeah.
go past 10 and stuff like that. I think we made it a thing where we wouldn't continue a meeting after 10, I think, or 11,
Okay.
whatever the case, because they would just go on and on. We go home tired, and believe me, we rather give you back the $10 and I have to be there so late.
It's, that's for $10 also. Like, I mean, I think there were times where I sat there and like, oh, they're going to executive session, I'm gonna wait, and it's already too late. Like, okay, I need to go home. Like, you guys will be in there for a
No,
while.
but it's worth it. In the end,
Yeah.
it's worth it, and we
Because
love what we do.
You see the
Yeah,
benefits
absolutely.
of it,
And we
which
do.
is helping people and finding solutions to things, and that's what keeps you going and motivated.
We see. Yep, exactly. Do you have anything in closing? you wanna
Yes,
say?
inviting people to come out and vote still.
Of course. Well, tomorrow it's a special day. It's only 9 to 1, and then we go back to Monday and Tuesday from 9 to 6,
Okay.
and we don't rest, but we take 3 days off, and then we go back to election day, which is Saturday, June the 7th, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. From there to the
777.
courthouse, and we will know the results.
Are you excited? Are you?
Yes,
nervous?
I mean, we have work, whatever the results are, we are blessed and we are happy of all the work. We have, done everything that we can, and it's in our power to get to the people, to send the message, to tell them exactly who we are and what I want to do.
And also tell them that even though they voted in the past, they have to come out.
Oh,
and vote
yes.
again.
There's a lot of confusion with people saying, okay, in the first round, I already voted, so that means I cannot vote. So maybe just the people that didn't go out to vote have the opportunity. Well, no, that is not true. We start all over again, and you can go and vote again.
Again.
It's like
please,
starting from
please.
fresh. Yes.
Yes.
And those who didn't go have the opportunity again to make it right this time.
Yep, we have a few days, so come on over and
We've
vote.
been
Yeah.
having good turnout.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
we're
seen that.
amazed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of the other media is like, oh, this is a low turnout. I mean, it's the same turnout as it was before, but it's going to gradually go up, and more people are going to come. And this is Eagle Pass. We all do things at the last
let's
minute.
stop the complaining on social media, Facebook, compra y vendo, and just get your behinds to vote.
Yes, that's better than getting out on compra y vendo and unanimously pointing something out. Go use
Instead
your
of
voice.
commenting negative, like just come out and
Yeah.
vote for whoever you want.
I don't know. I always get my fruit trays from Comprivendo. So,
Well, do they still sell stuff on compra y vendo?
I haven't seen any sales yet.
No, but
lately.
anyways, well, so before we wrap up, again, I just want to say in closing, after talking about everything, thank you guys so much again for, coming on the
time,
platform, for your time. I know it's late; it's 10:36, and you guys got to get some rest in. But I just want to say for the constituents out there, guys, get out there and vote. Go to the Cruz Meals gym starting tomorrow, and put your voice in. If you guys are tired of things being the same, if you're tired of all these speculations about big old politics wanting to keep things going the same, you guys can clearly see. You can clearly see who's behind who. You can clearly see that a lot of this again, I'm putting this wall here between me and everybody else. You can see how it just feels like for the other campaign that they really don't feel like this person is good for the job. If you need 10 million endorsements, that's just my take on it. And you have somebody here that has been defying the odds, has been putting up with a lot of this, the media bullying. Apparently it's been all her, but look at the Facebook and see, you can see what media entities, and if that other campaign condoned it or is letting it happen, to me, in my opinion, you're kind of condoning it, and then you're going to sit there and say that, no, you're being bullied. It's just, you guys can see it for yourselves. Don't take my word for it. I believe we have somebody here that is more than qualified to be our mayor. I'm going to say that right now.
First female.
Yeah, and the first female mayor. So not only are you making history for a first female mayor, but you're also making history by voting somebody in who has said no to the political machine and is paying for it, for getting all that support taken away. And now what matters is the support of the people, of the residents, which matters the most. And if that's, you guys want to win this election, this is the person to go with, Monica Cruz for mayor. So
Thank you.
almost I'll say
Thank you
that
for your
right
kind
now,
words.
of course. And thank you guys for being transparent and, coming on board with me and, shooting the breeze and all that. And we talk about your campaign and hopefully there's more we have more things to talk about, when you win. So,
Thank you.
and hopefully, in the near future, Councilman Garcia, we can do this again if we need to clear the air.
Any doubts you might have, feel free to reach out. I mean, we're available and more than willing.
Yeah,
Because,
absolutely.
and like I said, and if it's an answer that I might not have, I'll figure it out for you and get you to the bottom of it.
Yeah, and I like that I can disagree, and then you guys we'll talk about it instead of me disagreeing with you and then you getting mad at me for disagreeing with you. Like that's the thing that we kind of need to clear out of this place, is that we all can agree to disagree, and we can still come together and as a community and show unity. We're gonna hope and pray and see what this election comes to, and we just want to wish you the best of luck, Monica, and thank you so much again for coming on board with us and with me and Veronica. We always have a blast, coming over and from, again, getting pinned as your media source that you just created out of thin air. You supported all this and me, and I just I appeared. But any last words, guys, before we wrap
Just
up?
thank you. We're grateful and hope to see you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see you guys on election day. And I don't know if you're going to be there, you're going to be hiding out, or
I'm always around.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll see Councilman Garcia.
You don't see me around doesn't mean I'm not around.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm not a big picture person, but doesn't mean I don't follow up. So that's the thing.
There you go. And we'll look forward to seeing more happening. So with that being said, guys, for Monica Cruz, for Councilman Mario Garcia, and of course my partner Veronica Peña, I'm Ruben Camarillo. Guys, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We want to continue to give everybody, especially our politicians, our public servants, everybody a platform to talk with. We can agree to disagree. You know what? I'm sure there'll be times where I'll disagree with Miss Cruz. I'll disagree with Mario. We've done it before, and we still coexist. I mean, he was my opponent, and here we are. Now he's sitting across from me, and we had a blast for that election. But again, guys, thank you for joining us, and we'll keep you guys up to date on all of the elections actions. We'll keep in touch with you guys and see what the voting's looking like, and we'll post them on there for you. And we'll try to be positive. I know our job as a media, at least my job as a media journalist, is to tell the truth. And if it seems like I'm leaning to one side or the other, well, then I guess one side needs to start doing better than the other. That's all I can say on that. Guys, good luck. Get out there and vote. Don't sit and wait. This election is a very big election. It's really gonna determine the fate of how we run our city. All right. So guys, thank you again for joining us. I'm Ruben Camarillo. Guys, remember, if you guys don't know about Monica Cruz running for mayor, now you know. Eagle Pass. Get out there and vote. Stay cool, stay strong, rock on. This community is only stronger together. We'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.
Thank you.
Thank you.